Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Ask an iExec video podcast with iBank.com. My guest today is Rieva Lesonsky, and Rieva Lesonsky was the ex-senior editor of Entrepreneur Magazine for 26 plus years. In the last several years, 2 or 3 years, she's started her own business, her own media business, and she is an excellent writer for organizations like allbusiness.com, Bank of America. She's got some great proposals out there for some other big companies. So thanks for joining us, Rieva.
It's great to be here, Tommy.
Thank you so much. And what we're going to talk about today is why 2010 would be such a great year and such a great opportunity to potentially start a new business. A lot of people have been laid off today. A lot of people are struggling even with their current jobs. And Riva's going to talk a little bit about today about why 2010 is the year. So, Riva, is 2010 the year?
It is. It's going to be a great year for a lot of reasons. One, out of necessity, a lot of people are going to have to start a business because, like you said, they got laid off. Where are they going to go? Particularly the 50 and plus crowd. No one's going to hire them. Their salaries are too high. The cost of health insurance for them is too high. They're really going to have to go figure out what kind of business they can start and start their own business. I think we might see an increase in businesses from young people because people graduating college in May. How many people are hiring? We have a huge graduating class.
Sure.
Because it's the first edge. It's the first graduating class, or the second, actually, from that echo baby boom. Where are they going to go? A lot of them may start a business. And coming out of an economic recession, going into recovery, it's always good. People are going to start spending more. They have more needs. They're going to start spending money. Why not start a business, giving them what they want?
Absolutely. As a young person, or if you're in the older generation, the next generation looking to start a business, what's the first thing they should do? What's the first thing they should look at? Where should they go? I mean, is franchises popular today? Is it kind of your own idea? How do we find funding? What's the first step?
The first step is, I always say, you have to do a self-assessment. And a lot of times people really struggle with what kind of business should I start. To do a franchise, you have to have some money because you have to buy it. So you're going to have to invest some money in the franchise. I think for the 50 and older crowd, franchising is great. It's a little bit less of a risk than building it on your own. You're buying really into somebody else's system. So that might be something, that might be an area, if you have the money, if you got layoff money, severance money, that might be a great area for you to start. If you're young, I don't know, because franchise, you got to follow orders. You're following those people's systems. You don't have really a whole lot of freedom to do what you want. So I think for a young entrepreneur, that would be maybe a little tough. Not to say that it won't work, but I think it's a little tough. But you have to do a self-assessment, and I think everybody says, find your passion and do it. And to me, it's just a startup business cliche, because you know what? There are so many businesses that are necessary. Are you really passionate about dry cleaning? No, but everybody goes to the dry cleaner. I mean, so there are businesses that are necessity businesses that need people to start them and run them. And so what you have to do is sit down and assess how much money you have. What is your risk quotient? How comfortable do you feel about what if it goes belly up? What can you afford to lose? And what's needed? Look around, ask yourself. I always say, start with, if there were a product or service that existed that made my life easier, what would it be? And just start making a list. And then when you're done, maybe walk away for a little bit and come back and look at your list and go, oh yeah, I wish that there was a whatever, dry cleaning that delivered. We're on a dry cleaning kick right now. And then think about, is there something in there that I can do? Because if there's a chance that you're missing something, someone else is missing it too. And that's how you find the niche.
Perfect. Okay, now, so the kind of the self-assessment is number one. What does an entrepreneur or a potential business owner need to what do they need to do to be prepared? So we've done the self-assessment. Here's my passion, or here's something I think someone needs. Now, after that, I mean, do they need a business plan? Do they need to start talking to friends, families, and fools? Do they need to kind of where do they go? What are some good topics? Where are some good resources? What do they have to do to say, not to make themselves look like a fool, and actually know what they're doing?
You have to start doing your homework. Do you need a business plan? I think you do. Other people will argue. But before you even get to that point, you have to do your homework. Research your industry. Research what you're doing. I actually think if you go buy some business plan software, even if you don't end up writing a formal plan, and the software is cheap, iBank, if you go to iBank.com, there's software. If you go there, it can prompt you to figure out what to do for your homework. It's not even that you need to end up with the plan, but it'll help you figure out what questions you need to ask. What answers do you need filled in? It'll help you do a competitive analysis, which is really important. Maybe you have this idea now, who's doing it? How are they doing it? And you go on their site and figure out, what are they charging? How could you do it better? One of the things that startup entrepreneurs, one mistake that they make is thinking they have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to figure out how you're going to do it better, different, give it a twist, marketing, however you're going to do it, you figure out that. And then it's all comes down to money. Sure. How much money do you need to start this business? Once you are started, how much money do you need to live on? Because if you think you're going to open your doors on day one and start taking salary and the money's going to come flowing in, it doesn't happen that way. So you need to have like a 6-month cushion in the bank where, if you have a spouse, it helps if somebody has a job, but not everybody has that. So you got to plan out your money and then understand that 80% of all startups are self-funded or friends, family, and fools, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah.
Now, you might have a great idea, and maybe you can get somebody to give you a loan. You might have, if you're a franchise, you might be more likely to get financial help, whether from an SBA guaranteed loan or the franchisor themselves might arrange, give you some places to go. So you need to check that out. If you are a member of a credit union, you might get one. If you're going to do that, then you have to go back before you even go to that point and find out lenders. That's where you need that business plan, and it better be really good and really up to par, because that's what they're making their decision on.
That's right. So lastly, Rieva, you've been in the small business community for a while now, and you've been at Entrepreneur Magazine, for 26 plus years, and you've seen all different kinds of businesses succeed and fail. In this particular economy, and in 2010, we're talking about, it's a great time to start a company. What are some certain sectors that you think, or that you're seeing, that you think a young person, or even the 50 plus person, where do you think there's some good opportunity? Where do you think opportunity lies today?
I think there's a lot of opportunity actually aimed at those older people, but people even older than that. People are living longer. A lot of them are moving in with their baby boomer children. Who's watching the kids? So there's need for adult daycare. There's need for products, clothing. This is something that nobody's really marketed, is as people are getting older, they're still of the generation that thinks of themselves as younger, but arthritis does not. And so stylish clothing with bigger buttons so people don't struggle with it. So they still look cool, but it's easier to get dressed. So that's really important. Adult daycare is actually a booming industry. In-home non-medical care is skyrocketing and has for the last 5 years, and shows no sign of decreasing. This is someone to go in and maybe sit with somebody, like my own dad. My dad has Alzheimer's, and he has an aide that's comes from Medicaid, but it comes from an agency that they sent to there because my mom can't handle him on her own. And that's going to happen more and more. So you look at the older end of the market. One of the other more fun things is I came across this fact that of tweens. So that's 8 to 14-year-old girls. I actually say it's 8 to 12-year-olds, but anyway, they're really it's called kids growing up, but appearing older. And so they like older things. They like makeup, not real makeup, but fun makeup. And so there was a huge increase actually in lip gloss sold for little girls.
Oh, wow.
And so if you can come up with a formula, parents are a little leery about that because they don't want, big colors and a mess.
Sure.
So if you come up with a fun branded line of lip glosses and maybe eye colors that are light, that you don't look, like you're competing in some beauty pageant at the age of 5, but are subtle, girls love to play with that. So there's a big opportunity in that. And understand in that market, 2007, more kids in this country were born than any other year. And in 2008, they said, the birth rate dropped, but it dropped to 4.2 million. that's still over a baby boom year. It's still
Sure.
an enormous number of kids, and that's only going to increase again because now we have the original echo boom that are going to start having kids of their own. So
Sure.
businesses aimed at the kids market are gonna. There's so much potential.
Well, thank you again, Rieva, for joining us. This has been another iBank Ask an iExec video podcast, and we'll see you guys soon.